This video is about how you can take your silhouette and create a photo collage with it. You're going to use something called a layer mask and play around with adding a photograph to your silhouette. So you're going to do this in a free website called Pixlr, Pixlr. When you get to the website, choose Advanced Pixlr E, and then in the left side, choose Open Image. And you can open the image from your computer. You also can just drag your silhouette file in. It should be just black and white, so you can use it as a layer mask. And then you're going to drag in the photograph that you want to use to add texture. You can unlock that mask so it's not the background layer anymore, so that you can add another image underneath of it. So go ahead and drag in a photograph, and then it's gonna go on top. You just say add, and then in the layer palette on the right, drag it underneath of your silhouette image. Now you're going to create a layer mask. So first go to the wand select tool on the left hand side and select the black area of your silhouette. Now you're going to go to select on the top bar, sorry it's not visible, convert to mask. So select convert to mask. Now you're going to go to layer, more mask, and invert the mask if you want to have the texture inside of the silhouetted area. Experiment with how your photograph looks best under the image. So you can see you can toggle the visibility on and off with the check mark. You can move the photograph by selecting that layer. If you want, you also probably could lock your silhouette layer so you can move the photograph, or if it's bigger you can move it from the outside. Just make sure you're using the move tool in the top left corner of the toolbar and try to see how that photograph will look best. I decided to add a gradient to the white space so it wouldn't be so dull. So you can see on the left I chose gradient, and then there are sliders. You can choose different types of gradients. By clicking on the sliders you can move the way the color shifts. You can also click on the slider to choose a different color, and then on the left side of the gradient tool you could choose a radial or a linear gradient. And then you can just draw a line. This is the same thing in Illustrator and Photoshop to decide how far out that gradient shifts from one color to the next. So you can do all kinds of things with that white space. Just don't leave it white, and try to experiment with what color looks good or complements your design. Gradients are an easy way to get several colors. After creating the gradient, I decided to play around more with the relationship to the background image. So you can keep moving it around. You can go to edit, sorry that's not visible, free transform, and you can tilt it, you can make it bigger and smaller. So keep playing around. The advantage of the computer is that you aren't locked in. You can keep on experimenting to find the best possible arrangement. You can also alter the underlying photograph. Here I used the clone stamp tool. I'm experimenting with bringing some red up into the hair. So you can take color from one part of the image and place it in another part as well if there's a texture you want to add. The clone stamp tool is helpful for that. When you're finished with your collage, go to File, Save. Save it as a JPEG file and hit download. Give it a title so you can find it as well. And do the highest quality you can if you have a small size image. When you download, it'll go to your download folder, and then you can submit that to Canvas. Stay tuned for a couple more little tips. You'll see it at the bottom of your screen. So here it is. There's my file. Okay. You can experiment with all kinds of things like using the brush tool to add shapes or paint on top. You could add shapes with the shape tool. You can also play with blend modes. So here I'm trying different blend modes to see what they do. That's screen. You can try and see what you like, what looks interesting. Just experiment and play around until you figure out what looks good to you. It might also be a good idea to save a couple of different versions of your file so that when you're done with everything, you can compare them and choose your best version.